All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Nerd Holes. So tonight, Will and I are doing something a little different. Instead of reviewing a movie or talking about random movies, we actually have a schedule, a format. So tonight, we're going to be doing something fun. We're going to be doing our top 10 favorite movies. I would say of all time, but also like I feel like the list changes a lot too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And the other thing
yeah,
we're gonna add is we're gonna do our desert movie top fives. So in this scenario, you're on a beach, you're the only person there, full power, obviously, and there's a
yeah,
DVD player and a TV. So you
yeah.
have five. You have to have five DVDs in hand to watch these movies. And so, like, the scenario is like you're going to be rescued in half a year or a year. So these are your five movies for that duration of time. So they're movies that you would want to watch over and over again.
Yeah.
And in my case, top fives are not anything that's in my top 10.
Yeah. On no, yeah. I purposely picked separate
Yeah.
movies because they're what we like why.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Like
did
it
too.
wouldn't be interesting to be like also my top five desert movies
Yeah.
are my
Are the
top five
same top
favorite. Yeah. I don't think that would be
you
enjoyable to watch.
you remember them from the other list. It's this one. All right, so
From
Will, why don't
30
you
seconds ago.
All right, why don't you start? Mine are not in any particular order. Um,
Okay.
yours are.
I
Maybe I can do that on the fly though.
okay. I'm gonna start at number 10, right? Because
Okay,
that's
10
what the
up.
people come for.
Yeah, you got to
We're not
keep
going to
them.
give it away.
You got to keep them waiting for number one.
You stay. We're not going
And
to give you the time. You got to stay and find out what the number ones are.
and number one is Chicken Little.
I love it. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Oh gosh.
Chicken Little.
Okay, so I'll go first since you're gonna like shuffle yours around to see if you can put them into any sort of order.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
I'll start. Okay,
Yeah, go for
I'll
it.
start with my number 10, and it's going to be a funny one.
Mhm.
Nobody. There's like a pocket of humanity who has watched this movie, and it's Tremors.
Oh,
Tremors is my number 10.
that's a good one.
The whole reason all of these in my number 10 are movies that either I can watch over and over and over and over again and
Mhm.
never get sick of them, or they're movies that I feel like uh, nobody's ever done it. Like they haven't, like any movie to come after it is and has done something similar is just like a copy. Like it's an original movie.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Though that's kind of how my list is. It's either something I've seen like literally almost 100 times, or um, it's something that's like unique. Like they haven't really gone and redid it. So Tremors, that's number 10. I can always watch that. It's a good campy, silly. I don't know. It's just like a really
It's a great movie.
yeah. It's just I really enjoy it. There's a lot about it I really like, and it's fun to watch. And I feel like the story is so tight to it. Like within the first couple minutes, you understand everything that's going on.
Yeah, they set it up
You
quickly.
understand. Yeah, and you, which is a hard thing to do, is you in a short period of time you care about Val
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and Earl like immediately. And
Yeah.
it's that's a hard thing to do in a movie that like you don't know any of these people.
It's
And then on top of
Jaws in the desert.
yeah, right,
It's
exactly.
great. It's a perfect B sci-fi movie, like B horror movie.
Yeah, just basically instead of like how Jaws is like really layered, it's
Yeah.
like a multi-layered kind of movie. Tremors is just like, well, you know what? We're not going to give you this like, what is it? Or it's just going to be like, it's
Yeah.
this crazy worm thing.
It holds up good too. The actual like animatronics and stuff that they used, it looks great still.
Yeah. It's great. It's crazy how well it still ends up looking.
Yeah. I know I grew up watching that movie over and over with my mom. She loved that movie. We used to watch it all the time. And I can like close my eyes and I can picture that scene where it's like the first person view of the camera and it's going through the dirt and it's going under the ground. Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
And that noise that makes like that when
Yes.
it's going by. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the second one is good. And then they go.
Oh gosh. Aftershocks, yeah. Two.
Yeah.
Aftershocks is okay. It's okay.
Yeah. It's watchable. It's watchable. 3 is unwatchable. Exactly. 4, I don't think I've ever watched it. 5, I've never watched.
I never saw 4. So that's the funny thing is I've seen 1, 2, and 3. 3 is really rough. 4 I never watched, but I know it takes place in the Old West. And then I watched 5, and then I think I saw 6.
Well, there was a TV series too.
There was a TV series.
They did like a 4-episode season.
I think there's literally like 7 of them now. And I think it literally came out like this year or a couple years ago.
Comes back for one of them. No, he comes back in the TV show, and then they made a movie he's in after all that.
He's in
all of them.
He's in literally every single one of them.
Perfect.
Because now Jamie Kennedy is his son in like 5 and 6 and 7 or whatever. Or is it his son? I think it's his son. He's in them. I just don't remember. Yeah. And they're like in Africa now. That's where the movie, well, at least the 5 takes place in Africa. So.
And Kevin Bacon loves them. Loves all of them.
He does.
He's never said anything.
That's the crazy thing that you say that he went and filmed another like another pilot. He filmed like another Tremors television series.
Huh.
And nobody bought it, and it just like sat. So there's literally like a trailer and like footage of him, Kevin Bacon, playing Val again in perfection, and it just doesn't exist.
That's crazy.
Like Batgirl.
Because I thought he always talked about that's like one of his big regrets is like doing the first one. Maybe that was a while ago.
I think when it first came out I think it came out in 90 or 91. I think 90. And I can understand because he's coming off of like Footloose and all these huge movies that he was, you know what I mean? And then he's in this, and it's like I mean, it's a dumb movie compared to a lot of the other. He's in a lot of like dramas, like really high thinking movies. And I can understand early in his career he kind of wanted to put that behind him. But I think now he doesn't care anymore.
No.
He's reached how a lot of older actors are. They're very grateful to have people still care about them when they're in their 50s, their 60s, their 70s.
Yeah, us that grew up watching him in that movie as a kid.
Right, exactly.
And Reba McEntire, like you forget she's in it. She's like a very well-known country singer, and she's like a main character.
Yeah, and her name, the other girl is like Ariana something, and she's the little girl from Jurassic Park.
Oh, that's right. She grows up
the girl on the pogo stick. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about that in Jurassic.
Yeah, I think we did too. And I think also, I think his name is Lee or something. I know it's probably terrible, but the guy who owns the shop, isn't he like the guy who sells the Mogwais in Gremlins? Isn't he like
maybe
the guy they meet in China or Japan or China, wherever? I haven't seen Gremlins in a long time.
Yeah, it might be that guy.
I think he's like, and he's like, he plays like the very stereotypical,
yes,
ancient
80s Tokyo guy. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's a good pick. I do love that movie too. So my number 10 is it's a kung fu movie, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
That is a fantastic movie.
I love that movie.
I can't tell you the last time I saw it. That's a like a under the wire kind of movie that I don't think about a lot, but it is a fantastic movie.
It came out and it was like amazing, and everybody talked about it, and then it's just like there's been other movies since, but like nobody. The movie came out in 2000, and it was like such a it just was so visually striking.
Oh
Like as
yeah,
far as like other kung fu movies, and I love kung fu movies. It's like my favorite genre. And there's been a
yeah.
lot of good
I
ones,
mean,
but nothing looks like that. I mean, the fighting scenes and stuff, they're so
yeah.
well
I was gonna say yeah.
choreographed and yeah, so good. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, I think who is that? I can't think of the girl. It's the villain from Rush
Mm,
Hour is the other woman,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's is it Michelle Yeoh? I think is fighting her. And that scene where she has I'm gonna mess up on all the terminologies for
Mm,
those weapons. But she has like the spear, and
hmm.
they're fighting, and she's like, honestly, like it's not CGI. Like she's jabbing at her, and that lady's like
Yeah.
moving her head. It's a crazy scene. That like
Even like
fight sequence with
the
that.
training montage
Yeah,
on like the poles and stuff. I
yeah, yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
they were all on wires and stuff, but still like that a lot of that stuff is crazy. It's
Well,
crazy
sure,
to
but
do.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Is that the Jet Li? Is that him? And he's like running up the tree. Is that who I'm thinking of?
I believe so. It's been so long since I've seen it. It's one of the reasons why it's on my list is because like I could probably go watch it right now and it'd be like a new movie to me. You know what I mean?
Well, this is going to be the best thing because when you just said that and you dug up some good dirt, I think not immediately, but somewhere down the line we'll watch singly. We'll watch each one of our top tens
Mm. That's a good
and
idea.
like review it, like talk about it.
I was hoping you were going to say we were going to do a kung fu montage. We were going to watch Drunken Master and The One.
Well, I mean, yeah, we could do that too. That's funny.
Oh man. There's a great movie I always tell you about, and I forget the name of it. I think it's literally just like I think it's literally just the raid. And it's these police officers and they're trying to go up
Yes.
the building to arrest the main kingpin.
Yeah.
And it's like the one guy is left and he's like a kung fu man. He's got to fight all these guys. It's basically a remake of Jet Li's movie, right? Where he fights the way up the
Yeah.
tower.
Yeah.
It's basically a remake of that, but it's like modern. And it's like the choreography is like so the fighting is just like amazing in that movie. I think Matthew showed me
Yeah.
that movie and I was like, man, this movie's awesome. And then I made a second one. I never saw it.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
But I love
I think we
Jackie
talked-
Chan and Jet Li. I love all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Me
you know
too.
what's not on my list either is like both of the Rush Hour movies. Like I could watch both of those movies. Like
I went
every
back.
night.
I went back a couple of years ago and watched all three of them, and they're still good. Like Jackie Chan is still really good in it, and Chris Tucker is still very, very, very funny in it.
Yeah.
But they're really like 2022 outdated.
They're really dated, right? All the jokes are based on like who's in office at the time and yeah.
Yeah, they're very like sexist, racist comments. it doesn't. I don't know. It's just like the tone of people's likable stuff has changed. The
Yeah.
90s are not now. You know.
Yeah, that is true.
I like the movies. Don't get me wrong. I like them, but it's the tones of them have definitely changed.
Yeah, that is true.
I think we talked about the raid in No Time to Die, right?
I bring it up every time we talk about fighting scenes. It's just
some guy like in a corridor fighting, right? Yeah, or in a stairwell.
We gotta pick a night and watch it because we gotta do a kung fu night. You pick a kung fu movie, I'll pick a kung fu movie.
Okay, and I won't pick Kung Pao Into the Fury. I won't pick that.
I wish you would. It would be funny to do like a serious one and then that. I love that movie too. Oh man. I love that movie, man.
Which one? Do you remember which one you put that in? you cut that in. I remember.
Yeah, what one was that? Oh man. So good. All right, what's your number 9?
Okay, number 9 is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh,
yeah.
Choice.
Yeah, it is. I always put Raiders down. I always put Raiders. Always, constantly Raiders. Every time I make a list, Raiders is always in my top 10. But when I was doing it this time, I was like, you know what? I've gone and rewatched Raiders. I think I watched Raiders this summer because it was like the 40th anniversary, and I went and rewatched it. I still like it. I really have no problems with it. but I just found myself like I occasionally was looking at my phone and like not
Mhm.
really super paying attention. And I don't. Anytime I'm watching Last Crusade, I'm watching. Like I
I love
am
that movie.
watching.
Yeah, it's hard
And
to it's hard to pick one
oh yeah,
because the first three are like they're so good.
right, right. I
But
think to me, it's just the dynamic of
It's
his
Sean
dad,
Connery. Yeah.
of Sean Connery, right, and Marcus. There's a lot more comedy in it, and there's a lot
Mhm.
more, I don't know, just silliness in it than the other
Yeah.
movies have.
Well, it starts with
And
young Indiana on the train
right,
robbery, and so he gets his hat, and it's like it's so I like I always remember the beginning of that movie.
yeah,
And he runs home to his
yeah.
dad, and his dad's like, "Not now, Indiana. I'm working on. It belongs
Count
in a
in Greek.
museum."
Yeah, makes them count in Greek or whatever, or something like that, or Latin, I think. Yeah,
It's so good.
yeah. That's just, I don't know. I'm a sucker for Harrison Ford and
Yeah.
his Indiana Jones movies.
Well, you would be
Are just,
crazy to not have one Indiana Jones movie on your top 10, just so you know. Mine is just Crystal Skull.
only Crystal,
Only after Crouching Tiger, it's all Crystal Skull.
Crystal Skull, Crystal Skull, Crystal Skull, Crystal Skull.
Oh God. Yeah, that is such a great movie. I do love the dynamic, like you're saying, between those two, father and son.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's very
it's a
good.
good. There's a lot of good lines in that movie, and there's a lot of memorable things. One
Mhm.
of my favorite parts is when they're tied to the chair in the mansion, and he's like, "Dad, Dad, what, Dad?" And he's literally like turning the wrong way, and they're yelling at each other.
It's so good.
Oh
We
yeah.
are going. Oh yeah, yeah. Aren't they? They
The
fight
other one,
Nazis in
there's a
that one
great.
too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
They don't fight Nazis in 2, or technically 1, but yeah, they don't fight them in that one.
but this
I think
one's
the
all
only one they
Nazis.
don't. Yeah. But the funny thing is, I was gonna say there's another great scene, and I don't know if YouTube will let you keep it, because you probably don't. If you don't put it in, it's fine. But it's just a 4-second scene where it's Indiana gets hit, so they're escaping the mansion. He gets onto the boat, and he's gonna start the boat and like make the Nazis think
Yeah.
that that they're escaping on this boat. That's what he's thinking, but he doesn't say that out loud. He's just thinking it. So he jumps in the boat, and his dad throws him his his carrying
Yes.
bag.
Yeah.
He goes, "No!" and he throws the bag back at his dad. Just
I
that
do.
little scene
It's so
tells
good.
you everything about the movie,
Uh-huh.
right? Like
Because
that's all you had to see.
Indiana's been through it before. He's Han Solo.
Yeah.
He already has a plan, and his dad's just
Yeah.
tagging along.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is a great scene. Oh man. Let's see. Okay, so my number 9 is Saving Private Ryan.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
As far as like a war movie that's like super accurate to like
Mhm.
D-Day and stuff. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's honestly it's not a movie that you need to watch more than once.
True.
But it's just such like a striking movie that like really shows you like what those guys went through.
Oh
And,
yeah. I mean,
and just yeah. And the whole storyline of they went in just to save this guy, this Ryan guy, because his brother died and his parents had nobody left. So their mission was to go in and basically save him, spare him the war, and they all died. And it's a Tom Hanks movie too. I mean, come on, and Matt Damon. But he tells him, I love it because it shows Ryan in the beginning of the movie as an old man, and he's visiting all the graves.
Oh,
and that's the whole point of the movie is Tom Hanks basically tells him like live your life, make it worth it. And his whole life, he just doesn't know if he live a life good enough to atone for all these guys dying to bring him home.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, just
all of them. Yeah. Because they all, I mean, spoilers, it's like a 20.
It's a Suicide Squad.
Five-year-old. but they all die. So it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
there are three things in that movie that like
Hmm.
stick with you, and it's the things you always think about, like
Yeah.
every time, and it's the initial invasion on
Hmm.
Omaha or Utah
Hmm.
Beach, whatever beach they're breaching. That
Yeah.
whole the literal sequence of I don't know what those ships are called, but they have like the guys in them.
The
They drive.
boats. Yeah.
Yeah, from when they're giving like Tom Hanks and the other guy there, I can't think of his name, are giving the little speech to him like, "Don't line up, do this thing, get sand out of your weapon, like all this
Yeah.
stuff, clear your wet guns." That sequence to literally them on top. Now they're
Taking
on
the
top of the
tower.
hill.
Yeah, they're taking the towers.
It's like,
It's insane. And that's really what,
and I
that's really
like the
what
thing I
happened.
like. I think, yeah, I think the thing that makes you respect the movie more so is then when you read or you see the behind the scenes, like all of the major actors like slept in tents and they
Hmm.
did carry around 40, 50
Their
pound
weight.
bag. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they lived it.
Yeah, they did.
And they like Steven Spielberg took his time and really like he wanted to make this as real as possible. So that sequence, the sequence where they're getting run over at the town, I'm not going to
Hmm.
go into great detail, but there's a sequence where the guy is up in the roof or he's up in the second story and the Nazi
Hmm.
uh,
Oh, the
goes up the
knife,
stairs.
knife fight.
Yeah, the knife scene. Yeah, the knife scene.
And then
That whole sequence.
that guy shows up again later. Like he lets him go.
Yeah,
And then he shows up
yeah,
again.
yeah.
Yeah. And I just always
And the other
remember
one
the
is
end with the tank coming down the road.
mhm. Yeah, with him shooting the gun.
And yeah.
And the third one I always remember is the Mickey Mouse scene where they're making the
Hmm.
guy dig the hole. I love Mickey Mouse.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
love the
that
scene too where they're all, it's kind of like it's the first time they've kind of had like a break and they're sitting in that like destroyed
oh
city and they're just listening to
yeah, yeah,
that like French singer or German
yeah.
German, yeah.
I think it's French. No, I think it's French. I think
Yeah.
so. Maybe it's German, but I think it's French.
I think it was French. And it's just kind of
And
like
isn't
the
it the
calm before the storm, before like the end.
yeah?
Yeah.
And there's so many people in that movie. So
Oh yeah,
many
so
people
many
in that
famous
movie.
people that like have like a 2-second
Right.
cameo. Yeah.
Like because Paul Giamatti is in the scene.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Ted Danson from Cheers.
Hmm.
He's like one of the captains. And then the two funny things that you never ever think about. You never think about it is the guy when they're like, "Don't go out there. There's a sniper. You're gonna get shot." The guy who gets shot, it's Vin Diesel,
Hmm. That's right.
and
Oh
the
yeah.
guy that they initially find and think is Private Ryan is
Mhm.
Nathan Fillion.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like the guy that they think is like, hey, you gotta come. Tom Hanks goes into the like camp and
Yeah.
they're talking and
Yeah,
he's like, oh yeah, he's right here, and then they tell him like your
they tell
brothers
him
are
like
dead.
all his brothers are dead. Yeah.
He's like, what, and then also it's like, oh no, I'm not from there. Or like I think his realization is like, I'm not from Oklahoma or something like that or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, it's a great movie. If it wasn't Steven Spielberg, I think only he could have brought what he did to that type of movie.
Yeah,
There's been a lot of other good war movies that are like really faithful. Like I never saw 1812, but everybody says like that movie is like amazing, and it's like a one shot. Like the whole movie is one shot almost.
Yeah,
like there's breaks and stuff, but you don't see it as a break. In like
there's
filming.
that one, and there's I think like literally they just came out with one called like All Quiet on the Western Front.
Mm-hmm.
That like just came out, I think.
Yeah, and HBO always did that. The series, the Band of Brothers series.
Oh, the Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's good
stuff. If you're a history buff and like that stuff, I mean, there's tons of really good.
Yeah, sure.
I think the History Channel even did one that was like World War II in color. They took all the footage they had and they added color to all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. So that was pretty heavy. That's probably the heaviest movie I have on my list.
Okay.
I think that was it. All
Yeah, I
right,
don't think
number.
that none of my movies are anywhere near that heavy.
Yeah, pick some heavy hitters.
That's
All right.
okay. Hey, it's a good movie.
Yeah. All right, let's do your number 8. Let's move on to
Oh,
8.
so
Right?
my number 8 is number 8 is The Dark Knight. That's my number
Ooh,
8.
I was
That's
this close to
that's
putting it.
yeah, and it's it's for all the wrong reasons. It is not because it's like I'm a big Batman guy or whatever, like Christian Bale's performance or anything like that. It is
Heath.
literally, and not even, it's Heath Ledger, but it's not because Heath Ledger is just a good actor. It is other than the other. There's one other movie on my list, and it's the next one. It is the only time I have agreed with the villain's like point. The Joker in this movie, his like way he rationalizes things and the ways he thinks with them, you can like, yes, you would never take it to the degree that he does by harming people, but you're like, I can see his point. And it's like so many movies. It's like he's a villain. Oh, why? Oh, because he wants power, or he wants the power, or whatever. He wants what they have. That's his whole motive.
Yeah.
And in this thing, because he's just a guy who just wants to see the world burn. He's a much more fascinating, deeply detailed character, which is great because that's how the Joker is. The Joker has no motive. He just likes mayhem for mayhem purposes. And that's why I like the movie so much. Now, besides the fact it's very well crafted and very well shot, and it's an interesting movie. It's just like, even if you never saw Batman Begins, and even if you never went on to watch The Dark Knight Rises, like just watching The Dark Knight, you get just enough of what's going on, and it's a nice little like slice of comic book movie.
Yeah, I love that one too. I struggled whether or not to put that or just Batman Begins is such a great
Batman Begins
beginning for a character. But that being said, I don't have any of them. I don't have any of them on my list. But
oh yeah,
I love both of those. Even the last one, even the one with Bane.
Yeah, I like it.
That's a good movie. But yeah, no, I know what you mean about like the Joker kind of being right. He's just he just sees all the corruption and BS in the system.
Right.
And he's just like, everybody turns into the villain at some point. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, Batman is like this symbol of like hope. But at some point, he's going to make a wrong choice and get a bunch of people killed and be the martyr, be the anti-hero.
Right.
So his whole point is like, why do you believe in anything? Like, why do you believe in people?
Right. And there's a line he says to Harvey Dent in the hospital. He's dressed up as the nurse, and it's just like what he says there is truly exact. It's like, it's not part of the plan. He's like, you send off people to go to military and do all these other things, and they can die and they can get blown up. It's like, but if you kill a mayor or do something, like, people lose their minds. It's just like, it's the same.
Yeah. As a society, you're murdering people every day.
Right.
No, it's hard to argue with.
It's right. It's just like, obviously you would never take it to the violent degrees that he takes it, but it's like, I can understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, I know.
So
it's his last performance.
Honestly, that's honestly why I like the movie so much. It's not so much to the whole Batman Joker and the dynamic and all that stuff. I like it. It's fine. I have no issue with it, but it's just like, it's the whole hit. Like, I remember walking out of that theater and just being like, like, do I agree with the Joker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you feel like that's the best interpretation of the Joker that we've had live action? Because Mark Hamill's animated is like obviously the best, but
yeah, I was gonna say because Mark's is the best. But yeah, I would say so because I mean Jack Nicholson isn't bad just because his performance is very good, but like his whole motive and his whole backstory is like all messed up. But if you just look at it like his performance, it's like he's very like nail on the head with it. It's just all the other surrounding things that don't make it fit. So
yeah.
The other ones
he's too goofy.
Yeah.
He's too goofy for that.
Yeah. The other ones are fine. They're just different interpretations, but like page for page, like comic, like Heath Ledger is
Mhm.
probably the closest.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy like Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Joker in that. I mean, honestly, I think I say that like every time we talk about Batman, but like the characters in Arkham Asylum and Arkham City are like they're perfect. They're all perfect to me.
Yeah.
Like they really understand the characters and like how they're supposed to
Oh,
be.
very, very much.
It's very much, yeah. And I just wish they would bring that over, but I say that, but I also don't want to see another Batman beginning movie. We've had like 6 of
No,
them, but
no,
I
they'll
still
never.
haven't seen. I still haven't seen the Batman. Everybody says it's really good.
I ended up seeing it whenever some time ago when it came to HBO, and I don't know, it's fine. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be,
Mm,
and it's nothing. There's nothing really like. I don't know. It's cool. It's a cool movie, but it's one of those like it's very
slow,
niche.
yeah.
It's very slow. It's a very slow burn, and it's a very like you have to kind of shift your gear and like
Hmm.
when you watch it because he's not like the Batman that we all know and love. He's
And that's
very
it's funny because that seems like that's right up my alley, like an actual detective movie. Like Batman's supposed to be
it's
like a really
very
smart detective, but
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
No, yeah, it's that's the whole movie is about detective work. The entire movie is
That's pretty
detective
cool.
work.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it at some point. That's really the only bad thing I heard about it was that it's really slow. It builds up very slowly.
It does.
And if you're not paying attention, you really don't get a lot of the detail.
It's true. It's a movie you can't really like walk out of the room and get a
Yeah.
glass of water. Like you got to pause it and come
Yeah.
back.
Because he like shuffles through papers and it's like, oh, those are the clues that tie into the end. And if you didn't see this, yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It's Sherlock Holmes, but with Batman.
Pretty much.
And that's
Pretty
like,
much.
yeah, that sounds awesome to me.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it a lot. It just is like going from the Dark Knight to this. It's like it's not even
No,
they're not
not
on
even
the same.
close.
It's like yes, he's Batman and yes, this, but not really. They're not really the same type of movie.
Yeah, I can see that. All right. So my number 8 is Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
It's just
Nice.
I know what you mean when you were talking about it before and you were saying that it's just kind of one of those things where like you can kind of look away from it and not really pay attention to the whole movie, but I think like overall it's probably my favorite one to watch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I love the first one and I love the last one.
Yeah.
But there's just something about I love Shorty. That's what it is. I love Shorty. Short round.
Yeah. Well, Short Round's in Temple of Doom.
Always in temp. Yeah, that's right. Why do I get those confused?
So
Yeah, I get those
Temple of Doom
confused.
is
Right, right,
the
right.
one where we are gonna die.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, no.
That's Willie and Short Round. Is that's your number 8 then, or is it still
no.
Raiders?
So I do
Okay.
love that. I don't know why I always get those. I feel like that's my problem with Indiana Jones movies is I bring all 3 of them. I put like all 3 of them out like this, and I'm like, oh, Short Round's in this one, the Heart is in this one, the Crusade is in this one. The
Yeah.
like I picture like a lot of the things that I picture being in the movie that aren't in the movie. But no, so yeah, that's the one where they open up the thing at the end and they all melt. No,
That's the first one. Yeah,
I
Raiders
like
is
all.
the one where they melt.
Okay, so my top 8 movie is all the Indiana Jones movies.
Perfect.
Because apparently, when I picture Indiana Jones, they just blend all the movies together.
Yeah, Raiders is them stealing Marion
Mm,
and finding the lost Ark. I mean, the original, right? The Ark of the Covenant. That's like
right,
that's
right,
that
right.
movie. And he's on the thing with the rocket, and then they do the whole thing, and they get melted. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Temple is
The Stones, the
Willie
Village
in the
Stones,
stone in the village. Yeah. And the monkey brains and
Monkey
then
Brains,
the Kalema.
Kalema, Kalema.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
that's
voodoo, yeah. Okay, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. So then the one with Sean Connery is the chalice,
isn't it? Yeah.
the live forever, yeah,
Nice. Yeah, the Holy Grail. Yeah.
the Holy Grail. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. So all the Indiana Jones movies are mine, except for the last one,
Because
and
that's
then
number 7.
and probably the current one that they're in works for. They'll probably be not on my list either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's yeah.
All
I
right.
don't
Number 7, Will.
number 7.
Yeah.
Let's see, my phone locked on me, but I'm gonna
Beautiful.
remember anyways. So this is a new addition to my list that I don't normally put on. I just added it here a couple of years ago, and it is Avengers Endgame.
Ooh. That's a good
Yep.
one.
So that was like the other one. I made the point of like, yes, it's more so in Infinity War that you
Mhm.
agree with Thanos, like you understand what he's doing.
Uh-huh.
Do it. But Endgame is for me. I don't know. It did a lot of things in that movie I never thought I would ever see.
It's
a lot like Far From Home. Far From Home is like a slice of Endgame,
Yeah.
and for different reasons. So it's
Mhm.
there's a lot of movies that I like. It's kind of like your Indiana Jones thing. It's
Yeah.
like I can
They all blend.
like this big movie with this big movie. You know, from the Marvel universe. I'm saying,
Yeah.
like I could change it, Far From Home, or no, what am I saying? No Way Home. I could put No Way Home, take that out, put Endgame back, stuff like that. You know, Iron Man. I could take that out and put Iron Man there. It's an interchangeable thing, but it's always because they broke some sort of ground that like other comic book movies or other Marvel movies just like didn't ever do.
Yeah.
And I'm sure as time goes on, it may be a different one, you know, maybe a different Avengers, Secret Wars, or King Dynasty. I don't know. But who knows?
So that's 7 for you. Okay. So I'll spoil mine because that's my number 1 Endgame.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I'll
wow.
I'll explain why.
Okay, yeah.
It is the perfect conclusion to any movie arc. So you have you start with Iron Man and you work all the way to Endgame. It is this perfect conclusion. It's a passing of the torch, conclusion of character arcs for most character arcs. And it is just from start to finish all the way to Endgame. It's like it's perfect storytelling. And also it is the perfect beginning to the next arc. It also becomes this perfect. It pushes the story forward in a way where you watch Endgame, and if you're my wife, you say, "Why are they still making Marvel movies?" But if you're like us, Disney Plus is like, "Hey, so we're doing She-Hulk," and we're like, oh, "Get it out of here, right? Who cares?" You watch the first 3 episodes, and you're like, "This is amazing. This show is amazing.
Yeah,
it's so good." We haven't talked about it, but like, no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's honestly really funny that you say that, and I know I will be vilified for it, not from you, but from other people. Is that I also feel like She-Hulk can be changed out for my number 7. It's not a movie, but like I feel like She-Hulk raised the bar in their own way, in a different tone, just like Endgame and No Way Home. Right? They brought something to the table that the other Marvel stuff hasn't. And her breaking the fourth wall and that whole change and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I think it's the most
it's the most unique thing that we've seen as far as like storytelling. And you know what? It gives me amazing hope for now for Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
That Disney is making, you know? And it's like, oh, this is what Deadpool could be. This fourth wall breaking, like It gives me hope for
Yeah.
the future. And that's what I mean. Like Endgame ends and it's just this heavy conclusion, and you lose Tony Stark and you pass the torch on to Spider-Man. And Spider-Man doesn't even
Right.
become his own like main, like the Spider-Man that you know, not Spider-Boy, but Spider-Man. He doesn't become that until like 2 movies later.
Oh yeah.
But after those movies, you see the Loki show, amazing, right? So
Right.
you
Yeah.
had all these shows where you're like, I don't know, maybe I'll check it out, maybe I won't. And you watch it, and like, other than Moon Knight, they've all been like super, like great. They move the story ahead so that when you
Yep.
get to the new movies in the theater, you're like, oh, that ties into this ties into that, and it's just this whole, it's just moving the story forward and giving this new wave of characters without
Yeah.
these 2 hour long movies about like, oh, this is how he got his powers. This is, you don't need any of that.
Right. Exactly.
Here
Yep,
it is, 12 episodes on the TV. Watch it at home every Friday. You go to the theaters, picks up where it left off. It's amazing. And that, to me, that's what Endgame did. It pushed all that stuff to Disney Plus and then to the theaters.
Oh
But
yeah.
but even like, even what was the other one I just watched the other day? It was like it was like a release for Halloween or whatever, but it was the Werewolf by Night. I don't know if you
Oh, I
watched
haven't
it.
seen it yet. Yeah.
It
I
was
haven't seen
like,
it yet.
it's so cool. It's like this off the wall like character that like nobody knows about, and it's like it's like officially Marvel,
right.
and it's like it's a great like adaptation of like trying to be like the old style of like monster movie. It's so you gotta
Yeah.
watch it. It's really good. It's
Yeah, I
really
know.
good.
I read and heard that Kevin Feige was like, yeah, don't sleep on that.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. It was like they just put it out the day. You're like, what is this? And you're watching the preview, and
Yeah.
it's like, it looks like you're watching Frankenstein's Bride or whatever from 80,
Right.
72.
Yeah, 1930s.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good. It's so
Yeah.
good. Yeah, you gotta check it out.
I
But
know. I saw whatever his name is. Man Thing. I saw that he's.
oh yeah, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah, you gotta check it out.
I will.
Uh,
I will.
and that even kind of brings me like not a big tangent, but like a small tangent on like the future of like Star Wars properties too.
Mm-hmm.
They remember when they announced like whatever 6 months ago or whatever it was. They're like, "Hey, here's our plan for Star Wars," and you're
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Oh man,
Yeah.
I want to watch the Ahsoka show. I want to watch the Obi-Wan show." And then it was like Andor was coming out in between, and you're like, "Care about Andor?"
Yeah.
What he dies in Rogue One. I love Rogue One. It's one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I don't care what Andor did to join the rebels, And so, I didn't have anything going on the other day, and I turned it on, and I'm like, this is amazing. This show is so good.
I still haven't seen it. I still haven't watched
so good.
it, but yeah,
We'll have to talk about it after you watch it.
I keep forgetting about it. Yeah.
After you watch it, let's do an episode on it because it's
okay. Yeah. It's one of those things I just keep forgetting about that it's there, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. And I just keep forgetting about it.
It's
But I will.
well acted. Story is great. The characters are really interesting. Visuals are amazing, as current Star Wars is. It's gritty, it's realistic, it's good. It's Rogue One, but it's basically like, yeah, so Andor was doing like death missions his whole life before he even joined the Rebels. It's really good.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's really good. All right, so that was I could talk about it all night. So number 7 is Endgame for you, and number one is Endgame for me. So maybe I'll bring that back up again. But yeah, no,
you'll have.
I don't have anything else really to say about it, but I'll just kind of remind you when we get to one that's yeah. I just feel like it's just great.
It absolutely is. No, it absolutely. I mean, it's in both our top 10s. So
it's everything Rise of the Jedi should have been.
Or
End of the Jedi. I don't even know what the name of that stupid movie is.
Rise of Skywalker. Rise of
Palpatine, right? Yeah. It is everything that movie is not, and that's what makes it a perfect movie. Perfect end of a whatever, however, what is 20 movie arc, 30 movie arc?
Yeah, I think it's like 20 one movies or something like that. Yeah.
It's perfect.
The thing is, that's the thing, and we'll talk about it when we eventually get back to number one again. But the thing that makes me, it's just like it's the thing that you never thought you were going to get from that. You never thought you were going to get it,
Oh,
and then
no.
they give it, and then sure, it's the type of thing where there are little things in the movie where you're like, oh, okay, like that doesn't add up, or that doesn't really work, or blah blah blah. Like the whole Captain America thing at the end, right? It's really messy because it's
Mhm.
like, how does that play out? And they do not touch on it at all. But the thing is, it's like it's such a small part of the movie, and what they deliver is you're totally fine with it. You're not like, well,
Oh
this
yeah.
ruins the movie. It's like not in the slightest.
It
So
gave us everything in the end because it literally gave us the phrase assemble, which it waited
yeah,
like
sure.
till then, and it gave
Yeah.
us Captain America using Thor's hammer. It was like
Oh
it's a
yeah.
perfect combination.
The payoffs were never ending. They literally were like, hey, remember this tiny reference we made like 6 years ago? Here it is.
Mhm.
Here's the payoff.
And
You're just
even
like,
seeing like
oh, okay.
Tony go back and see his dad and all the
Right.
stuff that we've seen when they were when we were sitting in the theaters and they're like we're going into the past and you're like okay, and they go back to when my mind was first blown is when all of the Avengers are on live action on the movie screen. You're watching like the Avengers in theaters, the first one, and
Right,
they're
right, right.
there and they go back to that movie and they're sneaking around and taking the Tesseract and you're like, oh, this is so awesome that they're like showing these original scenes.
Right, right.
And they even kind of continue that into like the Hawkeye series. Remember where
Oh yeah.
they show her Kate Bishop's in her high rise and
Just
she
like
gets
yeah.
saved like from way far away
Yeah.
by Hawkeye and it's like the Battle of New York.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the
Oh
callback
yeah.
and the
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
perfect
I think
fan
it's what made the
service.
Netflix stuff so
Oh yeah.
yeah. It's what made it so interesting. That's what made people like it so much because of all the like little tie-ins that they were
Mhm.
doing,
Yeah.
specifically to the Battle of New York.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So it's a perfect movie if you put it in context. But even as a
Yes. Yeah.
standalone movie, it's very enjoyable. But you
Oh
put
yeah,
it in
you can watch
context,
it without watching the other things, but you will not you will not benefit or enjoy it as much of
you won't
without seeing the
understand
other stuff.
why guys like you and I are crying.
Right, right, yeah. No, really. No, I know.
Oh man. So my number 7
Yeah.
is The Princess Bride.
Oh, wow.
It's
Wow,
like one of
really?
my yeah, I love that movie. I could have put it higher up,
That's
honestly.
hilarious. I'm so glad I did I thought I for some reason I thought you didn't like the movie.
Oh
I don't
no,
know why I thought that.
I love that movie. I grew up watching it. I mean, come
That's
on,
fine. I love The Princess Bride.
the grandpa is Peter Falk. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
Columbo, you know.
yeah.
Columbo is the grandpa.
He's
It's
great in it, yeah.
it's a great movie. It's a great movie. I love all the actors in it. Like I really enjoy
He's
him.
moving his thumb.
But I like him as, you know, I like Robin Hood in the Merry Men.
Oh, Robin Hood, Men in Tights, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that movie too. So like I like him and I think that's what
Yeah,
helps.
oh,
But
yeah.
like no, it's just such a great story. I mean, even it has so many good things. It's funny. It's
Yeah, oh
it's
yeah.
sad, but it's also kind of dramatic. Yeah, it's a great movie. I love the
It really is.
rats
There's a
of
lot to
unusual
it.
size.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, what's his Andre the Giant, right? He's
Andre the Giant.
it's so good. My name is Montoya
It's
Mendes. You killed my father. Prepare to this. And then the end where they're like
yeah.
helping him fight, they're like holding him and like making him fight. It's
Yeah.
so good. So good.
You look for loose change. Yeah,
Never mess with a
there's so many.
Sicilian when death is on the line.
That is a line.
It's such a great movie, man. It's so
Yeah.
hard to like put into words like what. You just gotta watch it. It's great.
It's funny. It's like it's cool that it's on your number 10 because it's like it fits my category of like there's not really another movie like it.
Yeah, I would put like Monty Python movies in there. same level.
sure. But like having that, like you're saying, like the grandpa to grandson bedtime story thing, to like, it is like
It's original
stuff
story.
happens, like guys sword fight, like it's dangerous, it's like actiony, but it's also like so richly intelligent. Like the humor to it is, you blink and you've missed the joke type of thing.
Yeah, right.
Which is great, which is a sign of like a really good movie.
It's great writing, great
like,
storytelling.
there's so many repeatable lines.
He said to bluff. He said to bluff, which means he's a cheat.
Liar. Liar. Yeah.
I love that movie, man.
That's the whole part. The other part I like too is the part thing where they're going to the thing and he goes, oh gosh, I can't remember. That's the thing where it's the Sicilian guy and he's talking Fezzik or something. But he's like, and then Andre the Giant's character is like, anybody want a peanut? And he's like, stop frying me. It's all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. That's a great movie. It's not on my list, but it's a great. It probably honestly is in my top 30 if I had to like. It's probably. I'd have to really think about where I would put that. But
yeah. All right. So what's your number 6?
My number 6 is Superman the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The original 1970 movie with Christopher Reeve.
That's a good movie.
1978 or 79. It is a thing that they have yet to ever do again. Like Batman Begins is really good, and I like Batman Begins a lot. And there's a lot of other origin movies, even like Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire and stuff like that. I like them; they're good. Iron Man, great. But there's a thing about how they are able to give you the destruction of his home world, his parents saving him landing on Earth in Kansas, being raised by the Kents, being a high school kid, his father dying, going to the Fortress of Solitude, making the Fortress of Solitude, going to the fort and doing it, then getting a job at the Daily Planet, and then becoming Superman, and then the whole thing. And it's just like the movie is only like 2.5 hours long, and they cram all that in there. But it is it's very well done. At no point does it feel boring. You feel very interested. You actually care about Superman. You're actually you're involved rather than like, oh, he's cool because he flies and he's strong. It's like you're invested in his character. And I always really, really it's been like a touchstone movie for me. Kind of like, I'm sure you have movies throughout your life that like, it's like you saw something with your mom or when you were a little kid, and it's like, even though maybe the movie isn't like fantastic, it has like emotional properties to it. And the thing that happened here a couple months ago, gosh, probably more than that, they went and played it at Marquee Cinemas. They put it on the big screen.
Oh wow!
And I went with Adri and I watched it, and I fell in love with the movie all over again because I had never seen it on the big screen.
Yeah.
And I now realize like that is kind of the only way to see it, because that's how it was filmed to be on the big screen. And it's like putting it on a television screen just doesn't do it justice. And I never felt that way until I saw it in theaters.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's almost like we were talking about with I don't know if we said it on this thing, but it's like the book. It's like Superman the movie could be a book. Mm-hmm. It's got that level of character, and it has nothing really to do with the fact that he's Superman. It's none of that stuff that gets me. It's all the little nuanced things about his character, about like how good he is and how well, he'll get walked on and he'll get beat up and he'll get hurt long before he does anything to anybody. You know?
Yeah, no, that.
Even at the end of the movie, he doesn't like punch Lex Luthor. He just arrests him.
That's what's missing,
right?
In modern stuff, yeah.
Just like the heart to it, and what really, honestly, when you break it down, and it's like that was the 70s when Superman was like that in the comics. And now you get to today. If you look at Henry Cavill, I love him. He's great. He's a
Mhm.
wonderful Superman, but he's just so sad and so miserable and so gloomy
Mhm.
and like misunderstood. And it's like, that's the tone of movies nowadays and
Yeah.
tone of superheroes. But that's what made Superman and Batman so different, right? It's like Superman was the Boy Scout.
Yeah.
He's lucky. Yeah,
Batman was the orphan that was depressed and gloomy,
he's
and
depressed and he's gloomy and he hates everything, not Superman. So
well,
anyway,
that's why
that's
Superman's supposed to be like the symbol of hope. That's why he's like the last person to throw a punch. You know,
right. Exactly.
he's
Yeah,
kind of
which
like
is why
what the modern like Hulk became, right? Where she, you know,
kind of
Black Widow like says like, he's the only guy in a room that knows he can win a fight, but doesn't even want to get involved.
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. I
Yeah.
love Henry Cavill, and yeah, he was a great Superman. He could have been utilized so much better,
Well, yeah.
You know. He just quit. He just quit with The Witcher on Netflix.
Yeah, I
He
saw
said
that.
season 4
Yeah.
he's done. I guess the
I
director
guess
came out and said like, yeah, I hate the books. I don't know why the books are popular. And Henry Cavill like loves the books and the game. That's like why he wants to play.
that's why he
And
was
he's
doing
like,
it. Yeah.
I'm not involved in this anymore. If you don't even like the source material, why are you even making it?
Right.
So yeah.
Yep.
And he's great. He's great in that role. He's great in that role.
I know. Yeah. It's a yeah.
Sucks.
At least he had the smarts. At least he had the
Yeah,
integrity to say, you know what, not
I
going to be a part of it.
respect that. I respect that so much that he's just like, no, this isn't the character I want to play. And I think he probably would have done
Now
that.
he's back as Superman. He's now back as Superman. So,
Oh. Is he going to
we'll see.
keep his mustache this time or?
No.
That's one of the things that everybody made fun of about that movie. And to me, like I
Sure.
don't even notice it.
Yeah.
Everybody talked about it being like glaring. I'm like, I don't even understand what they're talking about. Like I don't even see it. He had like I think
if you went back and watched the video of the kids recording him on the cell phone, that's when it's most egregious.
When he's
really
talking.
terrible. But then, yeah, when he's like talking and going through everything. But from there, it's like you said. It's if that's all you're looking at, like you can see it, but it's not.
But my thing was like everything in that movie, and that's the thing you're gonna like. That's the hill you're gonna die on is the fake, CGI to remove his mustache. Like that's not.
There's a lot of other.
There's a lot of other things I would have addressed first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy.
The mustache CGI is not what broke that movie.
Didn't affect my viewing whatsoever. Oh man. All right. So my number 6 is Forrest Gump.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Man, you're getting like the
making your list look like a garbage.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just a great movie. It's probably not. So a movie
you're really revealing that you're a big Tom Hanks fan.
Apparently. I like Tom Hanks.
No, I mean everybody likes Tom Hanks. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I like Tom Hanks. He's pretty good.
Forrest Gump. Wow. So what is it about? Is it like the going through like the past? Is it like that stuff?
I do enjoy that. It's just one of those movies that got so many good one-liners that you quote all the time. I mean,
that's true.
Like when's the last time you were around anybody who didn't say, "Hey, Bubba," or like shrimp, scampi, shrimp, shrimping, buttered shrimp, raw shrimp. I think that's all. Shrimp. I think that's just about all you can do with shrimp. It's just such a great movie, and I don't think it's one of those movies that could be made today.
No. Yeah, probably not.
And I think Tom Hanks has really been the only actor that has been able to play a character like that and pull it off and not have it be like over the top or like making fun of people like that or not getting
the only
it right.
one I can tell you that comes to mind the two other ones that always come to mind when I think about people who have some sort of like hardship mentally is there's a Sean Penn movie, right? And you know what it is. He's got the little daughter, and I can't think of
Lucy
it.
in the Sky with Diamonds. That's what you're talking about.
I don't think so. It's gonna bug me, but it's that movie and Rain Man.
Rain Man, yeah, or Radio.
Yeah.
Radio is
Oh yeah,
pretty,
Radio. I forgot
yeah,
about Radio. Radio was a great movie.
with Cuba Gooding Jr., right? Yeah,
But Gooding Jr.
yeah.
I wish I could remember. He played.
I think you and I,
the movie's called I Am Sam. Is that what it's called?
but it's about Beatles, right? He loves the Beatles, and his daughter's name is Lucy, and it's based on Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and he like loves the Beatles, and he like uses that to like get through his life, quoting the Beatles.
You are probably 100% right. I just haven't seen the movie in a very long.
I've seen it a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
I'm almost
his daughter's
positive
name is Lucy.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's the movie. Yeah. So he lives his life based on like Beatle quotes. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, because I Am Sam is a Beatles song.
Beatles song.
Oh, I never put that together.
Yeah. And they're trying to take custody of his daughter, right? But he actually works a job, and he's that's a great. I forgot about that movie. Yeah, that's a great movie.
I was just thinking like that's like another kind of like guy who doesn't see the world the same way as everybody else, like Forrest does,
Yep.
I'll tell you what, to go along with your Forrest thing,
yeah.
Every time I see it, and I love the song because of it, and every time I hear the song, I always think of it, and it's a Robert Zemeckis film, so I always think like, wow, how perfect is Running on Empty, and I can't think of the guy's name who sings it, but it's Running on Empty, and it's when it goes, he's like, oh, I don't know, I just wanted to run, but I just kept running and blah, right? It's the whole scene where he's like running.
I was
and then running. Cuts. Running. And it cuts. And it does a hard cut, and it's him. It's his sneakers hitting the pavement.
And his things coming off.
Down,
yeah.
Down. And he's like,
is it the same scene where like all his like the metal bracings are like flying off like as he's running?
No, that's that's
way in the beginning
part.
Oh yeah,
that's way.
I couldn't remember if there was
this
a song.
After I think his mom dies. I think it's after his mom dies. He goes, I just felt like running.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a great thing. You'll have to watch. You have to like YouTube it later. It's just Forrest Gump running on empty. It cuts right to, and it's just his shoes on the road. I love it. It's like
that is like I do remember that. Yeah, I must have drank me about 15 Dr. Peppers.
All the guys are following. What do you say?
I said I must have drank me about 15 Dr. Peppers. I think he said he has to pee. I'll have to pay.
I'll have to pay.
Man, I love that movie.
Something jumped up and bit me.
Bit me. It was. Sometimes they even rained up. It's a great
movie. You ever do it to somebody like Lieutenant Dan ice cream?
That's what Noah always says if we like play like PlayStation together. He always says, and I was running, or he says, you got legs, Lieutenant Dan. Magic legs.
You got legs.
He's an idiot. All right, so it's kind of fitting. We have 5 minutes left in this episode, and we're on number 5. So let's both say our number 5 because I guarantee it's going to be the same.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Ready? 1, 2. We'll go on 3. 1, 2. Back to the Future.
Men in Black.
How is it? Men in Black is a good answer. But I know Back to the Future's on your list somewhere. I bet you that's on your desert. We'll have to see. So the original Back to the original Men in Black.
Yeah.
For you. Yeah.
The first one. Yeah.
I do love that movie.
Should we save it and then talk about it? Like
jump right,
and we'll come
jump right into talking about what we we can do that.
So stick around for another video.
So part 2 of this this podcast will be number 5 to number 1. our top
Yeah.
5 to 1. And then episode 3 will be our Desert 5. Desert 5. So yeah, so that will conclude episode 1 of our top 10 movies. So we will see you guys next time. Come for the nerds.
Stay for those holes.
I still don't know what that means.
Stay for the holes. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.